If you don't naturally want to give me these things, I am in the wrong room. If I have to beg to be understood, I am with the wrong person. And what we do is, if a situation is incompatible, we still try to force it and force it and force it because we're so attached. But we need to understand that when you let go, there's so much on the other side of that. Welcome back to my channel. I'm April. Hi, it's April. I make content about spirituality, personal development, self-development, feminine energy, all that woo-woo stuff we love so much. But this particular video I am making because I got married before my brain was fully developed, and I want to let you know some lessons that I learned along the way. So I'm gonna jump straight into it. I got married at 23 years old, and although some people, they can get married young and it lasts forever, my experience unfortunately was different, and I am still shook by how much I've learned through this process. I can literally feel volumes. But today I'm just gonna give some sacred highlights of lessons that, I don't regret the experience. It was just, a bunch of revelations. And this is what marriage taught me before I truly knew myself. And how Spirit used this marriage as an opportunity to shape me into the woman that I'm now becoming. So lesson number 1, jumping straight into it. If you don't know yourself, someone will try to define you. If you do not know yourself, someone else will try to define you. I entered this marriage thinking that I can find myself inside of it, and instead I totally 100% lost myself. I centered my partner and I just was trying to please and just try to be chosen. I didn't really know that I can have an identity outside of my relationship, so I became everything for him and nothing for me. I just wanted to please. I just wanted to submit. With all the programming of what a woman should be like, I listened to that instead of figure out what kind of woman I actually wanted to be. It was really a lot of deep abandonment wounds, and I just wanted to be whoever he found was worthy. So I allowed him to tell me exactly who he wanted me to be, and to shape shift and to shrink and to become that, because I didn't define myself before I met him, And learning that, I listen to my spirit now, and it's saying that this situation was just for me to remember myself and to not be someone else's mirror, not to see myself in their reflection, to actually see my real self beyond their perception, which took some time to wake up to, because it's really hard to create yourself while someone else is trying to define you at the same time, because you start to feel oppressed, like you're forced to be one way. So that's lesson number 1. I hope you got a pen and a pad and a notepad, because these are going to be hitting, okay? So lesson number 2, a relationship should be an addition to your life, not a replacement for it. I 100% centered my marriage, like I said in the first lesson. I simply thought that love will solve loneliness, but no amount of closeness can fill the space where you abandon yourself. A relationship should be a garden, not the soil, not the sun, just an extra bloom, just the icing on the cake, just the cherry on top of an already fulfilled life. Something that grows because your life is already full. The moment you use a relationship to define your purpose, you're going to not only affect you, but that other person, because nobody can be your everything. That person is going to feel so depleted, so overworked, just so incapable of providing for you, because your needs don't have an end. I learned now to fall in love without first having a purpose only results in both parties being unfulfilled. It's only going to hurt everybody if you're living in a relation, if you're living for a relationship, becoming codependent instead of being independent. So understand that you are already the gift, and that relationship is just the bow on top. So moving on to lesson number 3 is boundaries. I know we hear boundaries all the time, but when I got married at 23, before my brain was fully developed, I had no idea what boundaries were. But now I understand how they are a sacred architecture. They're like a wall of protection. I thought initially that boundaries was like something cold, where you're just always saying no and you're just being mean and stuck up and selfish. And I also thought it meant like you have to say yes to everything. Like if you deny someone something, then you're a bad person. But boundaries are love in structured form. They say I love you, but I love me too. Without boundaries, you can't even be the love that you really are, because you're leaking from emptiness. You don't have an overflow to give. Boundaries are actually protecting you in ways, because human beings are naturally toxic. When you're living in the ego, and when you're like a person, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to hurt people, you're going to say the wrong thing. So by having boundaries, you actually have a limit of how much you take, so that you're not like killing yourself, killing your soul to stay somewhere that you're in consistent pain in. People are going to push you. People are going to push and push and push and poke and poke and poke until they can't anymore, because they want to get everything they want. And if you're not saying no, they're like, okay, she's giving it to me, so I'm, it must not be a problem. But the boundaries make them, stop, and they're no longer milking you for everything that you got. First and foremost, I had to build boundaries with myself first, because if I wasn't keeping boundaries with myself, if I wasn't keeping my own word and learning to build trust within me, when I say I'm going to do something, actually show up for myself, then how can I attract people that are willing to do that for me? How can I meet people that are actually reliable, that actually keep their word, that's actually consistent, that actually enjoys providing the things I ask them for, if I can't even keep a deadline with myself, or if I can't even make a promise or a commitment with myself and see it through? So throughout this marriage, I was constantly just learning, like, okay, April, where are you neglecting yourself? Where is it that you need to be showing up completely instead of asking this person to be your everything? This is definitely, listen, in any relationship, not just marriage, you need to have boundaries, period. It's not a question of if, it's a question of what. So lesson number 4, sometimes marriage is simply a classroom and not a life sentence. Not every love is going to be forever. Some love comes to awaken you, to shape you, to shake you, to teach you, and teach you how to stand strong again. Some love breaks you open, okay, unfortunately, but it helps the real you to walk out. You have a heartbreak, and now your light can shine through that crack. And honestly, this is the hardest thing about being a human to me. Like, heartbreak, oh my goodness, the grief, okay? But I thought that something ending meant that I failed, but it just actually meant that I graduated. Heartbreak is not a failure, it's a graduation. It's a level up, it's an initiation. Let's talk about it. But for so long, I generally thought that I was doing the right thing by staying in a situation that brought me consistent pain. I thought sacrificing myself was an act of love. But I know that sometimes the greatest act of love is just walking away now. Like, walking away is love. Period. Staying somewhere where no one is leveling up, staying somewhere where everyone is miserable, and just having hope and focusing on the potential of what it eventually can be, is actually self-neglect. I will go as far to say that staying somewhere that you are not satisfied is actually self-hate. And every soul contract has a purpose. Like, some stay forever, some is just until you remember who the hell you are. And it's the most painful part of the journey, but it's the most necessary. Moving on to lesson number 5, a woman should never try to control anyone, especially a man. Let's say that again. A woman should never try to control anyone, especially a man. Let grown adult people do what grown adult people want to do. You state your needs, you make your request known, and they don't fulfill it, make the choice to walk away. That is a gift you give to yourself and them, because no one wants to be forced into doing anything, and you definitely don't want to waste your time and your sacred energy trying to convince, correct, fix, argue, and beg. I did this for years. Love should not be a courtroom. Love should be a sacred space where everyone is getting their needs met, and you don't need to prove your worth like you're on trial. Like, love should not be well, you need to give me this because I so and so and so and so. And it's like, if you don't naturally want to give me these things, I am in the wrong room. If I have to beg to be understood, I am with the wrong person. And what we do is, if a situation is incompatible, we still try to force it and force it and force it because we're so attached. But we need to understand that when you let go, there's so much on the other side of that. You do everyone a disservice. You do each of you a disservice by staying somewhere where you're no longer fulfilled, or when you have to become manipulative to get your needs met. Because that was the thing. I had to do and say things to try to swindle my way into someone's heart. That doesn't serve anyone. And you don't really have to be manipulative. You don't have to pull this person into your light. You just have to be your own light and let that person rise or let that person be replaced. Simple as that. I know it's easier said than done. Trust me. Like, I know it's so much easier said than done, because we're all dealing with this programming of low self-esteem, or a lot of us are dealing with this program of low self-esteem, of self-hate, of self-neglect, of self-abandonment. So we have to go through these hardships of aligning with these people that reflect our lack of self-love. When the pain gets so unbearable, we wake up and we walk away, and the real work begins. Are you going to consistently choose yourself now that you're no longer in that position where you have to shrink? Are you going to show up for yourself now? So yeah, leaving is not a failure. It's actually self-honoring. It's okay to say and realize that this version of love is no longer in alignment of my new definition of love. Now that I know exactly what love is and what it's not, what it doesn't look like, I can actually pick situations and people that feel like love. And I had to learn that through getting married before my brain was fully developed, unfortunately, but at least the lesson was learned. But yeah, I just want to say that I don't hate who I was. I was just a girl who wanted love so deeply that I tried to find it before I even knew that it was living in me the whole time, that I was actually it, that I am the embodiment of love. But now I know better. I walk softer, I'm smarter, I love deeper. Like, I have discernment now. Like, I can spot abuse from a mile away. I'm not ignoring no red flags, okay? I choose me, I choose myself first and always. I prioritize my needs. Like, my confidence level has shot up. Like, I can tell you when I'm shrinking. I know when I'm shrinking and when I'm showing up fully. I can sense it in my body and I can snap out of it. So this hasn't been a sad story. This is just a story of my remembering, of my resurrection, of me returning back to my soul, of me up leveling in real time, coming on camera, sharing these revelations with you in real time. So I hope this reminded you of your power. I hope that you know that it's never too late to walk away and to rewrite your definition of love, okay? Once you learn what love is, follow it, because it's the only thing that is real. So if any part of this video has touched you, please leave a heart or a comment or a fairy, because she was a fairy. Yeah. Tell me what lessons hit your spirit. And if you're still finding yourself, if you're still finding your way back to yourself, just know that you're not alone. You have an entire team of angels that's guiding over you, okay? You are growing forward, and we're going to do it together. Thank you so much for existing, and until next time.